Captain Musa Nuhu is a former Director General of the NCAA, as well as Captain Boaz Agbonifo, who is a pilot. Both of them join us via Zoom. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, Captain Agbonifo, let me come back to you. I don't know if you have such historical antecedent, but I'd like you to speak to the action of the crew. As what I have been made to understand is that the captain on a flight is the head of the team, and consequently,
Correct.
one of your primary responsibilities is to protect your crew. So
Yes.
when you heard that, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
The first thing that came to mind is we have training where it says that if you have an unruly passenger, the flight attendant is allowed to let us know that, hey, this person is unruly, they're not complying, and we have to make the decision to say, okay, can we calm this person down or are we going to kick this person off? Yeah, I saw the videos. I didn't want to speculate anything, but from what it looked like, I don't think even the captain was aware of what was going on. It looked like the flight attendants or flight attendant in question, probably the lead flight attendant, decided to take the executive decision of detaining and just keeping her in there. I feel like it's definitely, as a captain, you're going to either try to, what's it called, dissolve the issue, or if you need to remove the passenger, then you contact ground control. Ground control is going to send security agencies, and they are trained on de-escalating and they are trained on how to remove passengers effectively.
Okay, so you don't think there was you are you saying that maybe there were gaps in the process from what you've seen so far?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. So one of the things that when Kayla and I, my colleague, were talking about this earlier, I saw three things. Number one, the fact that uh, the lady was told to switch off her phone and she did not switch off her phone, and somehow miraculously they were able to come to Lagos, and then all of that occurred. So that's on the one hand the issue of disobedience to the authorities that the pilot and the cabin crew give. How rife is that, and really, how significant is it?
So I get this questions a lot. What's the benefit of putting your phone in flight mode? The two things. Number one, if it's one phone, it's not a problem. I think Mr. Mike spoke on it earlier. He was right. It's not a problem if it's one phone. It becomes a problem when your phone is not in flight mode and all the phones are trying to get network, for lack of better terms. Now, these can definitely interfere with the aircraft systems, such as the radar altimeter, radio altimeter, different systems that could be affected. Now, it is the airline's policy. At the end of the day, the airline offers a service to people. If you decide to fly on that airline, it means you have accepted to take their service, which also means you have to follow their rules and regulations. And I tell my passengers this, it's our airline's policy for your phones to be in flight mode. If you do not want to do it, that's fine. You can easily go ahead and get on another airline that will allow you to have your phone on.
I'm glad you get this, you know, this question a lot. So this is, I don't know what you want to call this lecture that you want to give us now, 101. Is it cabin service 101 or whatever it is? Because
That's
a
fine.
good number of people, and I'm sure you get it a lot, okay? Many people are on the aircraft, switch off your phones, they will not switch off their phones, and
Yeah.
then all kinds of things happen. And so please, for the benefit of the people watching you and listening to you right now, give us the education. You've talked about the fact that it affects the systems, but people don't understand how that can happen. Come on, it's a phone. How sophisticated can the phone be to affect the functioning of such a massive aircraft as that?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, the technology is not at a point where everything can go hand in hand. You need to understand that there's a saying in the aviation world that the rules and the regulations are built in blood. It is such a safety precaution where we don't want a situation, or the safety people don't want a situation where because phones are left on, it now interferes with your radar, or it now interferes with your GPS. You're supposed to be going Lagos to Ore, and because someone's phone, I'm not saying, I'm just exaggerating now, because you're supposed to do Lagos to Ore, you end up doing Lagos to Benin, for instance. So just because of the safety, the professionals have said, or the experts have said, hey, just let everyone switch off their phone. It's going to be easier for us to handle. And that's, I feel like that's just what is going on. There's no proving, or I don't think there's any proof that says, okay, if all the phones are on, the aircraft will crash, or if you go to this country and leave the phones on, I don't think anything has happened like that. I don't think a phone has actively caused a crash. However, there's nothing like being too careful.
Okay, let me. I hope we have Captain Nuhu with us now on this call, because one of the issues that one would like to find out are the regulations. The second thing that I saw, and I'm sure my colleague Kela will also want to get in on this conversation shortly. Well, the second thing that I saw that I told my colleague earlier, and I'd like you to speak to it, is the system. It will seem like we have what I can call civil disobedience. Okay, when people don't seem to trust the system, and it also kind of reverberates in the way we respond to whatever issues are raised with us at any given point in time. We get an instruction from any official, we're disobeying it simply because we do not trust the system. How significant is that in the process that you saw so far?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The passengers, the both issues definitely did not trust the system. Now, for us, we're trained to say the flight attendants acts as our representative, and failure to follow their instructions is a violation of federal law. I do not know if that is in the training manuals for the pilots in Nigeria, but I can tell you that the system we have here is you have to listen to the flight attendants, or you're going to get put out of the plane. There's no two ways about it. You have to trust that they know what they're doing, they are trained in it. And the truth is, the only time they respect these flight attendants is when we have to do an emergency landing and when we have to evacuate. Suddenly, everybody's listening to what the flight attendants are saying because, oh, now you're about to die, you're scared, and then boom, flight attendant becomes God. But until something drastic like that happens, it seems like they want to downplay the roles of the flight attendants.
When it comes to that, Captain Boaz, the situation when it comes to the relationship between flight attendants and the the passengers on the plane, I want to be able to get your thoughts on the standard operating procedure for these sorts of situations. I have been of the opinion since this situation happened that standard operating procedures for unruly passengers, for people who have senior moments, for people who have mental health issues, for all of them, I feel like those SOPs need to be upgraded, especially when it comes to aviation in Nigeria. Because like you mentioned, there are gaps in the way the cabin crew handled the lady's situation on that Ibom air flight. Maybe you could help us talk to a few of the gaps that you noticed and the issue of upgrading our standard operating procedures for irate passengers and other kinds of situations in the aviation industry in Nigeria.
Okay, so the first gap I noticed was I did not see where the cabin crew, as the flight attendants, called the pilots to say, hey, this is what's going on. The second gap I noticed is when the lady in question hits the flight attendant, nothing was done. Someone decided to start making a video. I say it all the time. Instead of making a video, why don't you try and resolve the issue? But social media these days is, oh, I want to be the one who posts the video. Now, for the entire situation, there are three people I blame. Number one, the security agencies. Number two, the flight crew, the entire flight crew, captain, first officer, and flight attendants. And number three, the ground personnel. There should be some form of training to bridge conflict resolution among all three. Where, okay, if this is happening, we have an unruly passenger who makes the final call of kicking them off. Okay, who now decides to kick them off? From what I saw, it was almost like it was the ramp agents were the one that were bringing her out. That's not done anywhere except in Nigeria. You have police, you have airport police. The reason for airport police, that is literally, other than protecting lives and well-being, is for situations like that where if you have to take someone out, because the police is not just police for like I said, protecting lives. They are also a form of sensitive security. When you see a police officer and he says, hey, you have to do this, you have to respect his authority. Nothing like that was done. Instead, it seems like the rank agents took the laws into their hands to forcefully remove her. And then she was also assaulted in the process. So I don't know what the training is like in Nigeria or how they get their training done on what's who's who. And if you now relate the same thing with what happened on the guy's case, I think they said he's a musician or something. Yes, it's looking like selective justice because nobody did that to him. But it can't be like say because in Nigeria when they feel say nobody know, she can just get the whole brunt of the law. And for him, he came out apologized. For her, I don't know, but I don't think she's even been given an opportunity to apologize. I heard this morning that she's in Kirikiri prison, and I'm like, wait, when did the judge preside on this? When did all of these things go on? I went on the internet and I said, yeah, it's social media.
All right, I think we have Captain Nuhu, Captain Musa Nuhu, former DGNCAA, join us via Zoom from Canada as well. Captain Nuhu, can you hear us? Good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you. Thank you very much.
All right. So we were just speaking with the pilots there, Captain Boaz, and he said that he noticed some gaps in the handling of the irate passenger, the unruly passenger, as well. People have been calling her the unruly passenger on that Ibom Air flight. Did you notice any gaps in the standard operating procedure for that sort of situation when you looked at that video?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, the video that was played, I don't think it showed the entire event. It just showed one part of the event. So it's a problem to really.
Okay, I think we're having a bit of an issue with the audio there from Captain Nuhu. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, so please continue your train of thought, please.
Okay, sorry, I'm actually at the airport. I'm in transit, so I'm using the headphones. Okay. So anyway, unruly passenger should not be condoned.
Oh, we lost that connection to him. Captain Boaz, I think I'm going to come to you. So I think we've lost the connection generally. It's one of those things when we have Zoom situations, you know. But, you know, talking about some of the gaps that have been noticed. And you know, that was what the conversation was earlier, wasn't it? We're taking a look at some of the situations and how we move from one place to the other. What's the procedure for all of these situations? And Captain Nuhu, if you can hear me, yes, you were trying to land on your train of thought. You said the visual that we saw doesn't tell the entire situation. It just shows us a bit of what what's happened. But you know, a bigger video, longer video, maybe we won't be able to get that. But investigations maybe will help us to understand what fully happened in that situation. But like the captain was saying us, like the pilot was saying us, that you see, it didn't feel like. He felt like it was the men who handled the ramp that were the ones bringing her out, and that violence and that assault that we saw, even though she assaulted as well. Just your take, really, on that whole scenario, if you can help us with that.
Well, the whole scenario is very unfortunate. It was not properly managed, and it was allowed to escalate at the funds. And I would say, maybe you didn't hear me, even the International Civil Aviation Organization, the apex body on civil aviation, takes the matter of unruly passengers seriously, and even has a protocol called the Montel Protocol 2014 as amended, which Nigeria is signatory to that protocol that deals with the issues of unruly passengers. It gives guidelines on how to deal with unruly passengers. So if we want to do training, we want to make sure all the entire ecosystem, aviation ecosystem, knows how to deal with the unruly passenger situation. There are guidelines there for them to follow and implement. It's unfortunate passengers behave that way, but as much as we condemn the behavior of the passengers and unacceptable to assault any flight crew for whatever reason, because it deals with the safety and security of a flight operation, it is totally unacceptable to accept that. But however, we need to look at this growing trend of unruly passengers in Nigeria, and we need to determine the root cause. The only way we can come up with a solution that will resolve this matter is to deal with the root cause. These behaviors are symptoms, and a thorough and proper and appropriate investigation must be done to deal with this issue of unruly passengers. It's totally unacceptable. And I don't know what the captain said. Apparently, he was there. He must have seen some gaps on how the situation was dealt with. And that shows we have issues, systemic issues that must be resolved. First of all, to identify possible unruly passengers and deal with the situation before making those type of fun. And when actually passengers become unruly, and how to handle the situation by escalating it. Try to escalate the situation, don't let it get out of hand. And also, when it gets out of hand, there are procedures on which to deal with passengers that get out of hand. And unruly passenger just disobeying the command of a flight attendant or a flight captain as part of the definition of unruly passenger. So, unfortunately, there are some passengers, I'm not condemning all the time, but there are certainly some passengers that have issues and believe nobody can talk to them because you bought an etiquette.
Well,
you can just do whatever you like to do on flight. That's not acceptable. Also, there's responsibility.
Yeah, my sincere apologies, Captain Nuhu, that we have to button at this time because we're running completely out of time. I'm hoping that one of these days, when we have you around, we'll be able to have this conversation more elaborately with you, because issues are not going to go away unless they are dealt with decisively. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Captain Musa Nuhu is a former DG of the NCAA. And we have to thank you as well, Captain Boaz Agbonifo, who is also a pilot. We appreciate your time, gentlemen, for your perspectives this morning.